Hello and welcome. This is the Asylum. It's time to solve my puzzle, Carlethia. Standard 9x9 Sudoku rules apply, meaning you must place the digits 1 through 9 exactly once each in every row, column, and box. Then we have Japanese sums rules. The squares outside of the grid, say this 6-0 right here, this orange 6, indicates the order of the runs of contiguous cells that must be shaded the color of the clue. So we're going to have a 6 orange, then a 4 brown somewhere. The number in the square, say the 6, is equal to the sum of all the cells in that particular run. There must be at least one unshaded cell between runs of the same color. So between this 4 brown and this 4 brown, there has to be an unshaded cell. But that is not required for runs of different colors. So this 4 brown can stick right next to this 7 red. All shaded runs are given, so you don't have to worry about colors appearing that aren't supposed to be there. And finally, the colors that are used in this puzzle are brown, designated by a B, blue, designated by a U, red, designated by an R, silver, designated by an S, and orange, designated by an O. We have these in the letters here for accessibility purposes. For anyone who is colorblind, it makes them able to do our puzzles. I don't know if you're colorblind, Carlethia, but I do it for all my puzzles. Next, we have crop key dots. The cells here that are separated by a black dot are in a 1-to-2 ratio. It could be 2 and 4, and that would be valid. It can be 3 and 6, as long as they're in a 1-to-2 ratio. Important note, though, you'll see there are 2 other dots in the grid. Those are merely decoration. They are not crop key dots. They have no rules meaning whatsoever. And finally, our last rule is arrows. There are circles in the grid, like this one, with an attached arrow on it. The digit in this circle will equal the sum of the digits on the attached arrow. And that's all the rules for my puzzle. Now let's get started. Now the first thing we should note, when we're just doing especially Japanese sums puzzles, is the magic secret of Sudoku. The secret is that the digits 1 through 9 add up to the number 45. So if we can find columns or rows that add up to 45, we know the entire row or column is shaded. So let's start looking for some. Well, look here. We got a 5 orange and a 20 brown, a 7 red, and a 13 brown. 5 plus 20 is 25, plus 7 is 32, plus 13 is 45. So we know this entire column here is shaded. So we know up top we have an orange cell. Next, and it could be 2 cells, because 5 can be made up of 2 cells. So we can't mark this square yet, but we can mark these 2 squares down here as brown. Because we know 13 has to be at least 2 cells long, because 9 is the biggest digit. So we know 13 is there. Now, if we look carefully, we also notice something interesting about the reds. I just noticed this. The reds are contained only within these bottom 4 rows. That's the only places we can find red on the rows. Furthermore, the only place we can find red in columns are in here. Not there. So red is contained within this area. That's very helpful to know. Now, so we know, let's get back to this 45 column. We know our 7 red has to go in somewhere here. Now, it could be a single 7 red here, and this could be brown. Or it could be 2 cells, adding to 7, and it would have to be a 1-6 pair, because this row can only have a 1 red in it. So it would have to be 1-6, or 1-2-4, possibly. Oh, it couldn't be 1-2-4 because there's no red in this row. So we know that the red is contained in this column in these two cells. It could be 1-6, or it could be just a single 7 right here. We don't know yet, But in either case, we definitely know, however, that cell is red. In any of the cases we have, no, that's not true. That's not true. I take that back. It could be it can't be a single cell 7 here because it can only be one. So you can only fit one in this particular, one red in this particular row. So this cell is always shaded red. Now, whether this cell is shaded red or not, we don't know yet. Now since we're right next to them, let's look at these crocky dots. Now, when we think about the digits 1 through 9, and those that have doubles, we know that they can be 1 and 2. Whoa, wrong mode. Let me delete all that. They can be 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 8, or 3 and 6. However, if we have 3 and 6, we'd have to put one of them in the middle. What are we going to do over here? If you ever have 3 Kropskis in a straight line like that, you immediately eliminate the 3 and the 6. So we know this is 1, 2, 4, 8 in some order. Now the 8 can't be in the middle, because if the 8 was in the middle, it had to be surrounded by 2 4s, and that's illegal. So we know there's no 8 in the middle. The same applies to the 1. If the 1 was in the middle, it would have to be surrounded by 2 2s. Again, not illegal. So the middle cell is now down to 2 or 4, both of which are actually possible, because we can do, say, 1, 2, 4, or we can do 8, 4, 2, or we can do, and that covers all of our options. Either way, it can be 4, 2, 1, same way. It's just reversed. So those are our options right now for the crocky dot. Let's see what else we can find that's interesting. I just saw something very interesting. Notice that gray is limited to these 4 cells and these 4 cells, because we only have gray in these columns, in columns 1 and 2, and 8 and 9, and we only have, not gray, silver. And we only have silver in these 2 rows. So we know immediately we can look at these clues and get somewhere, because 13 takes 2 clues, 2 cells for sure. So that has to be all shaded silver. Now if we also look over here, we got an 11. So let's add up this column real quick and see what it adds to, or this row rather. We've got 11 plus 19 is 30, plus 15 is 45. So we know that this entire row is shaded. So that means to make our 11 sum work, it has to go there. Now we have an 11 sum. These 2 cells add to 11, and then this cell adds part of a 5, or maybe all of a 5. We don't know yet. But what we do know is that this cell is either a 3 or a 2, 1. If it was a 2, 1, I think we run into a problem. If we do 2, 1, say, to make up our 3, we'd then have to go 4, and then we'd have to put a 6 here, because 4 plus 2 equals 6. Well, 6 plus 2 only equals 8, so we're not getting anywhere near our 11. In fact, the only way to do 11 2 cells... Oh, I'm thinking 6 by 6. Now, ignore that last statement. It's been a while since I've done 9 by 9s on camera, so I'm a little shaky. So we do know, however, that this is not likely to be 2 cells. We don't know it for sure yet. We do know, however, on the other side over here, that we've got a 12 silver. That's got to be 2. That has to be 2. And over here, we've got a 15 silver. That has to be 2. Now we've got the same problem on the end. Is this cell shaded silver? Well, we don't know, because this 6 could come down. Or it can't go up, but it could come down. Just like this 3 could come down. So we don't know quite what's going on there yet, but we do know that those are all shaded gray. Now let's look at this row. Let's look at row 4. Row 4 does not add to 45. It only adds to 42. Now that means the outies, i.e. the cells that aren't in the run of 42, are total sum to 3. So they could be a single 3 here, a single 3 here, or a 1-2 pair, 1-2 pair here, or a 1-2 pair here. In any event, all of these cells are shaded brown. They have to be, because we have to get 3 on the outside somehow. Could be split up. It could be split like that, or it could be all on one side. Either way, but we don't know yet. And we do definitely know that these 5 are brown. Let's see. Let's see how that has affected some of our. We're trying for a 7 red. And let's first. How do we want to attack this? Okay. We can have any digit here because it's part of a 22 sum. Hey, let's take a quick second and add these up and see what our outies are for this row. We got 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 22 is 31, plus 2 is 33, plus 3 is 36. So we have a good bit out. We have 9 out, which could be 3 cells, max 3 cells. Or it could be just 1 cell. But, so we don't know whether this 22 takes up this entire region or if it's limited. It can reach this far. 22 can be done in 5. And it is covered by the columns. So we could do this whole thing as red. But we don't know what it is yet, whether that's true or not yet. Well, but we do. But we do, he says. Because 22 has to be at least 3 cells long. Now, it cannot take this cell because between the red and the silver is a brown cell. So we need to save a step. That spot can't be red. Same argument applies for this area over here. This can't be red because there's a 2 brown that needs to come before this gray. So that leaves only 3 places for the 22 to go. And they take up all that space. Now we know this is brown, and it's a 4. We've got a digit. And this is brown, and is a 2. Now this 22 in 3 cells has to be made up of 5, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 9. We don't know the order yet. Could be just a single 7 here. Remember, we can still fit a single 7 here. So we don't quite know how this 22 is made up yet. However, we do see that looks like we've got outies for this again. What were the outies for this again? Let's remind ourselves. 9 plus 22 is 31, plus 2 is 33, plus 3 is 36, so there's 9 outside. These 2 cells add to 9. Or one of these cells adds to 9 and the other cells is silver. We don't know yet. We're going to be finding out soon, though. So let's continue our search for full runs. This bottom row looks like it's pretty fruitful. We have 13 blue, plus 5 red is 18, plus 4 is 22, plus 6 is 28, plus 17 is 45. So we know this cell needs to be red. We know these two, we know at least those cells are blue. Because both 17 and 13 need 2 cells to be made to reach that total. And then we need a red 5 somewhere along here, and a red 6 somewhere along here, and this is part of a 4 clue. It could be the whole of a 4 clue for all we know. We don't know yet, but we're getting there. If we look at now let's look at this column. This column is very interesting because it's got a 3 silver and a 9 blue. Well, this 9 blue can only reach this far. In fact, let's make a great note of the fact that blue only exists in this row. We know we can't grow upwards with this 9. That means this is a 9. Means this is a 3, and we need 1 more to make it 13. So that's blue. And then next to the blue is a 5. So this is red, and it's part of a 5. Oh, that's the wrong red. I don't like that red. I like it. It's red. So and this could grow up. We don't know if it goes up any higher. It could be 1, 4, or 2, 3, 2. That's possible. We don't know yet. And over here we've got a 6 red. Now we don't know. Oh, we do know. So remember, we have the blue is only in these rows. So we know this cell is blue because we've only got an 8, 2, and a 7 to work with up there, and that equals exactly 17. So that's an 8. This is a 2. This is a 7. That means this lonely little cell is red and is part of a 6 sum. Could be the whole of a 6 sum. We don't know, but we do know this is the whole of a 4 sum. There's only 4 there. So that 4 is part of a 13. This could be a 9. And, let me continue my thought. This could be a 9, or it can grow further. But one thing I just noticed is this 4 looks up and sees this 2, 4. That means that 4 cannot be there anymore. Now that 4 isn't there, we know that it can't be 8. And we know that these cells can't be 2. We know this is a 1, 4 pair. This is a 2. And it's either 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 4 that way. We know that. Now let's add them up. What we've got. We've got 5 plus 7. That equals 7. We need to get to 19. That means we need 2 more cells. So these cells have to be brown along with this. This is all brown. Hopefully you're following so far. So now these 2 cells here, if this adds to 7, and we're in a 19, these 2 have to add to 12. There are a couple ways to do that. There's 3, 9, which is possible. 4, 8, which is not possible because the 4 is in the row. And 5, 7 is possible. But I just realized... Wait, back up a second. We need 12, so it would be 2. 9 and 2. We can't do 9 and 2. Or we need 9 and 3, excuse me. We can do 9 and 3. So these are 3, 9. Or they're 6, 7. No, 6, 7 adds 13. 5, 7 is what I meant to say. There we go. Now we're getting there. Okay. Now let's come back to this. Let's see. No, we still don't have enough information there yet. What do we know? What do we know? Let's look at this. Well, we still don't know where this 41 goes, whether it extends this way or not. Oh, but what we do know is that these cells are unshaded. I'm going to use yellow for unshaded. These cells are unshaded because the 9 we have only a 9. And it's already taken care of. And yet above it we have a 3 in silver. And the 3 in silver can only be 2 cells long. At most, because it can be either singular 3 or it could be a 2-1 pair. Actually, we have a 2 here and a 2 here. Meaning we can't put a 2 here or here. So this is a 3. Now take 3 out of these boxes. And those went with a 9. So now we have 5. We have our 22 or our 19 sum taken care of. It's a 5-7 pair with a 1-4 pair surrounding a 2. Okay? Hopefully you're with me there. And now that we have this 3, we can actually mark all the rest of this column as unshaded. We know there's nothing else in this column. Let's go look over here. This 7 completes the 7 clue. And we have a 6. Now the 6 can be 3 long. It can be 1, 2, 3. We'll add to 6. So it could go to here. But remember, silver is limited to going only here because of the rows. So we can mark these cells as unshaded. The silver can't come above it because there's only silver in these two, in rows 5 and 6. So all of this above this silver mark are also unshaded. Now, what that does for us is that gives us 2 outies in the 42 row. That 42 row is only missing a 1 and a 1 and a 2. It's missing 3, and if it's in 2 outies, it's a 1 and a 2. Now, and we know their order because we can't put a 2 here because there's already a 2 in the box. So this is a 1, and this is a 2. Furthermore, we know now where all of the 42 goes. It goes there. This is part of a 7 sum, and this is part of a 9 sum. They can grow up. They might not grow up. They could be just the holes. We haven't looked there any further there yet. But interestingly, because we got that 3 placed, we now can work on the rest of this cell, maybe. Well, of course we can, because this 3 plus this cell add to 11. So that's an 8. Now to make 8, we add 5 to 3. And then we get a 7 here and a 5 here. Hopefully that's clear. Now we look over here at this sum. We're not as fortunate as we were because we don't know whether this 6 takes this cell or not. Or do we? It can't be 1, 5 because 1, 5 is in the row. It's single 6. We can't be 1, 5 because the 1 and 5 are both in the box. And we can't be 2, 4 because 2 is in the box. So this is a solitary 6. This is unshaded. And this is the remaining number from this row, which happens to be 9. So to complete our 9 sum of this arrow, we need to add a 3. Now we have 12, which matches our 12 silver above, and we have 13, which matches our 13 silver above, and we are done with silver. All right. Now let's go looking for something else fruitful. What else looks fun? Let's see here. I'm looking again for rows and columns that add to 45 or close to it, so we can get some more traction out of them. This looks like an interesting row. 2, 2, yeah, there's a little bit too much freedom there. But one thing we do know is, underneath this 13 silver is a 3 blue, and we have it. So these become unshaded. Over here, we've got the same thing. This 12 is above a 2, and we have both of those, so these are unshaded. Over here, we're not so lucky because above the 8 somewhere is a 6 in red. Could be just a single 6 red here because there is a red 6 clue. That's likely, but it's not guaranteed. So we're not going to just pencil that in right away. We're going to do a little work before we can prove that. We always make sure we prove everything. We don't solve by a picture. So, where do we want to look next? Above this 13 is a 9 sum. That can only be 3 cells max. So this cell is unshaded. Over here we've got a 7 sum, again, max of 3 cells, so this cell is unshaded. Now this is 22, which requires 3, so we still got some room to grow. Now, let's see what else we can figure out. Well, let's go ahead and pencil mark in these 3 digits here. That should help us. There's 7, 8, and 4. Well, that shows us this right away is an 8. And these are a 4, 7 pair. Okay. Now this could be a solitary 7 and do nothing, or it could be a 4, 1, 2. Or it could be a 4, 3. We don't know yet. This 9, we checked, it can take 3 cells. And it can also be just 1 cell. We don't know yet. Let's fill in these though. 1. Oh wait, look, those are already gone because 1's in the row. Let's go ahead and put the 1 in. Then we have a 9 and a 6 left. Now that again matches that 9 over here. So it could be just a singular 9. Don't know yet. Let's go to this column. Let's see what it adds up to. 3 plus 33 is 36. 37 plus 8 is 45. So we know this entire column is shaded. So we'll start with the orange. Put a little bit of orange there. And we know actually that this, well, we know it's a 3 orange, and we know it has to be a singular 3 because the 1 is already taken in the column. So this is a 3. Now next to it, we'll come back to this column in a sec. I just want to do this real quick. We know that the 22 is one contiguous sum. So this 3 connects to that other orange cell. So we're going to put an orange cell there. Now, let's see what else we can do. Now 33 is at least 5 cells. You can only get to 30 with 4. 6, 7, 8, 9 equals 30. So we need 5 cells. But we can get them from a number of different places, so we're not entirely sure where they are. What we do know, however, is right above this 1 is a red part of an 8. Now the 8 could continue over and make this 5 be... Oh, let's just finish this row. Let's just look at this row. We need a 5 and we need a 6. And our clues match exactly. 5 and 6. So we know now that this is not red. And it does not connect to this 8. This is part of an 8 sum. So this is the whole of the 8 sum, which is what we have in our column. And since the 33 must be contiguous, we can now shade this color brown. That's so brown. And we can fill these in as brown. And we've got this column completely shaded. Now this cell is part of a 10 sum, so this is definitely brown. Now over here we got a 12 sum that has to be at least 2 digits long. So those are both brown. But in between the 10 and the 12 is a 1 red. So this cell is red. And it's a 1. That means above it, since we're in a 7 red in the column, this must be a 6. And from the column over here, we get this. We already have our 5. So this has to be the 7. And the last digit for this row is a 9. And 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 9 is 22. So that all adds up perfectly. Now, we know above this 6 is a brown 10. Well, 10 has to be done in 2 cells, so this is brown. And these two add to 10 in some fashion. We don't know how they add to 10 yet. We'll find them out soon. Over here, we've got another 10. So again, that cell has to be shaded brown. Now in this row, we've only got one cell whose shading isn't determined. And it's part of a, let's see what it is. It is part of a 6 red. In fact, it's the whole of a 6 red. That's a 6 in red. Now we have 18 in brown here, which can be made up in many different ways. But we do know what this cell is, because we know this 4 is a part of a 13 sum, so this has to be a 9. Now these two squares have to also equal 9. Now 1/8 gone, because 1's in the box, 8's in the column, or row, excuse me. 2, 7 is still there, so let's mark those. Can be 2, 7. Oh, and can it be anything else? 3, 6. Nope, the 6 is in the row. And 4, 5 are both in the box. So now we get a 2 and we get a 7. Now this 2 is part of a 10 sum, so that's an 8. This 7 is also part of a 10 sum, so this is 3. Now, this is part of a 12 sum, and it has a 3 in it, so this must be a 9. And this is part of a 10 sum. Oh, 10, did I say 10 over here? This is 12. It's 12. I placed it right, said it wrong. This is the 10th sum, and it already has an 8, so we need another 2. Start to fill out. Now, let's go ahead and fill out what this is. These are 3, 4, no, not 4, 3, 5, and 8. 3, 5, and 8, and hey, there's the 8, 3. All right, that's good to know. Now, let's come back to this column. Let's look at this column. This column's just become interesting, because what we've got is we have we know we have an empty space between the two 4s, And if let's add this all up. So the 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 7 is 21, plus 10 is 31, plus 5 is 36. So there's 9 missing between these two, on this column. We filled all this out, and we are reaching, oh, well, that's an even easier way to show it. Well, we need a gap between these 4s. Now this is part of a 4th, a sum of 4. And it's got a 3 already in it. So this has to be a 1, this has to be a 4. Now we have our 4, so we need a blank. I'm going to leave this one. We're going to shade it. When we're done, we're going to remove all the yellow shading. Best results, always remove your shading, unmarked shading when you're doing a Japanese sums. It helps the picture. So now we've got our 4 done and our skip. So this has to be a brown 4. And this has to be an orange 6. Making progress. Making some real progress now. Now this 5 is part of a 5 sum. And it can't be 1, 5, or 1, 4, or 2, 3, because 1 and 2 are both taken in the column. So it can't grow down. So this is a singular 5. That makes this an 8 and this 5. Now, we've got a 22 sum to make up. And we have 11 plus 3 is 14. Well, and minus 22 is 8. So we have 8 here. There could be a singular 8 here. That's still possible. Or it could be 2 cells that add to 8. Also still possible. Don't know yet. Let's see what we have got other places. Now this is an interesting one. So this could be either a 7, singular 7, or it could be 4, 2, 1. So we can't do anything with this one right now. That's still open. Over here, we've got a 24. Oh, we've got a 7. Let's count that. Let's see how much this counts to. 24 plus 7 is 31, plus 6 is 37, plus 8 is 45. So we know this whole column is shaded. So we put in our orange to the top, and then we'll go ahead and make our orange consecutive because we know there's only a one orange clue in this row, the 22. And then we look at this 20, consider whether this 7 grows. It could be 1, 6. That's possible. Nope, 6 is in the column. So it can't be 1, 6, and it can't be 2, 5. It could be 3, 4 in this order. 4, 4, 3. We don't know that yet, whether that's true or not yet. So we're not sure exactly how that works out. We'll see soon enough. So now let's go back to this middle row that we knew added to 45. We've got 10 so far. We need another 10 to make up the 20 clue. So these are all brown. And then this is part of a 7 sum. Let's just finish this column out. 7 and 3 are what are missing from that group. Now, it can't be 3, 4, because there's a 4 in a box. We can't be, and 3 can never be part of a 3-cell 7. So this is a singular 7 on its own, which gives us a 3 here. Now we have a singular cell on our own, 7 on its own in brown. We know we need at least one unshaded cell in between. So this cell must be unshaded. Now, this cell needs to have some type. I assume I don't know why I didn't even select that. That was weird. Okay, so now we can have. Oh, this cell is very easy. It's just a 1. It can only be a 1. There's only 1 there. So underneath it, though, why is it sticky? Turn off the sticky. Okay. Now, let's finish good lipping these two columns, which means filling in all the possible possibilities. This has 1, 2, 3, 4. It needs a 5, 6, and 9 to complete the column. Okay? Over here, we need a 2 and an 8. 2 and 8. I know that 2 8 is a little hard to see down there, but it's 2 and 8 down there. Now, the outies, let's count the outies for this column. 10 plus 6 is 16, plus 9 is 25, plus 9 is 34, plus 2 is 36, plus 1 is 37. That leaves us 8 in our outies. Conveniently, we can have a single 8 here or a single 8 here. And the others, well, we can't have a single 8 here because we have this as an outie already. And the only possible outies we have are 2 and 8. So this is an 8. This is a 2, and this is shaded. This is shaded brown. It's part of the 19 clue going across, and it is the 2 clue coming down. So we have this whole row done, this whole row done, or column done, excuse me, both of those columns. And this column is done, we just haven't put in the last 9. That takes out a 9 from there, but we're still going to keep looking. Now, this cell is interesting because this is part of a 5 sum. But the only options it can be are 5 or 6, so it's definitely a 5. And this is definitely unshaded. Now that this is unshaded, we're locking this cell in, so this can't be shaded because this is a singular 9, and it finishes out the column. So that's all unshaded. This becomes a 6, this becomes a 9. Now we're going to add up this 19 clue. 9 plus 4, 3, 2. 2, 3, 4 is 9. That's 18. So there has to be a 1 right here. That's brown. That adds to 19. So, and we have one cell left in this row whose shading is undetermined, but we have a 6th orange clue we have to take care of. So this is orange, and it's a 6. And this orange is locked off, so it's a 7. That gives us a 4 here and a 7 here. And now, this 6 has a 7 brown underneath it. We have a 7 brown underneath it already, which is right next to a 2. And there isn't room to put another 7 brown. So this has to be unshaded. Now this is the only cell left in this column. So let's find it's a 3. And is it shaded? Well, let's see. We're part of a 24 clue. So we'll start at the bottom. We have 9, 11, 16, 20, 21, and 3 makes 24. So that is brown. Now, we've gotten, well, looky here. We have solved all of the shading parts. We can even take the unshaded cells out. So let's do so. I'll highlight them all and erase them. Highlight them all and erase them. Now, that's what our picture looks like. We have our picture already. That's great. Now let's just finish up the Sudoku, and so we can finish solving the puzzle. Down here we need a 1. It goes exactly here because there's a 1 in this row, and in this column, and 1 in this row. This cell is, I don't think it's nearly as restricted. These cells are restricted. There's only 3 of them there. So they are 4, 5, and 8. This is the 4, this is the 8, and this is the 5. These 3 cells are 2, 5, and 9. This is the 5, this is the 2, this is the 9. These 2 cells are 3 and 4. This is the 4, and that's the 3. These 2 cells are 5 and 4. That's 5, that's 4. These cells are 6, 7. And we don't know the order of those yet, strangely enough. But those are 6, 7. Up here, we have, what are we missing from here? 1 and 6. So this is a 6, this is a 1, this is a 7, this is a 6. These are 2 and 7. The 7, this is the 2. And we have 2 more digits to fill in. This is a 4, and this is a 3. No, it's not a 3. Oh, I went into the wrong mode. Go away. No, 3. I'm bad at math. 2's right there. What am I missing? It's an 8. There we go. Finally solved it. There it is. There's the completed picture of Miss Carlethia. And thank you again for all of the wonderful help you've given me over the last week. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks, and we'll see you later.